Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. I am your co host, Ashton, here with my awesome co host, Zach. We're just going to jump into this game, guys. And first off, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you very much. We go live every time we do the podcast and have a lot of fun when you guys get in the comments and stuff. So feel free to comment away, like, and subscribe if you're listening on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, Zach, this game was a wild game, one of my favorite in the last few years, just as a watching experience. And winning does help a good amount with that category, like elite level game. So, how are you feeling after that?
I'm just super rejuvenated. Yes, was I sick to my stomach the rest of like pretty much that whole fourth quarter? Yes. But this is the Rams team we knew they were or what they could have been all season long. When you have a concisive or cohesive offensive line, you have the highest caliber QB that you can have with Matthew Stafford. You have two amazing wide receivers, and you have Kyron Williams. This offense can be unstoppable. They've just not been able to put all the pieces together. And this is the first time that we've seen this offense really click on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if any game deserves a victory, ginger ale, it is this game because hats off to our boys. I'm so proud of this team, Zach, the way they responded. And let's be clear, they have not put together a cohesive all four quarters of any game this year. Even the Vikings game, they were slow to start that game too. And they eventually got warmer and warmer. But if this team shows up every week, we are going to win a lot of football games and we should be in the postseason. Now, this team has not shown up, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the latter half of this pod. But, Zach, what about the game plan do you think made this team effective, or was it more a player mentality? Because we have seen them try to do similar things in other games, and execution just wasn't there.
Yeah, you look at this game, and this game was one that I think most people even wrote off. We even kind of wrote it off. We were like, there's, out of the 5 games or 6 games left we have to play, this is one that will most likely be an L. We can lose this one and still have a good chance to win the division, to still get into the playoffs. And I think that mentality may have got to them. This team doesn't want to fail. They want to succeed each and every week.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford puts everything out there to try to win a game. And most of the games this year have been one-score losses. And they didn't give up on each other. And I feel like a lot of times we saw that. We saw them start to give up. They would stop. They would abandon the run occasionally. They would abandon the jet sweeps. They would abandon some of the creativity. In this, they did not abandon anything. Even when the running game wasn't working, they still did it. The Bills knew every first down they were going to run the ball. And it was either successful or not, but they continued to do it each and every time. And I think that's just what it was. They didn't give up on themselves. Sean McVay still was out there being creative. They were out there being bullies. They were showing the grit that they have. So it was really well executed.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see the point of view of the defensive coordinator of the Bills and their approach to the Rams. And they were like, we're going to run blitz the entire game. And it was almost like a majority of downs. They were run blitzing. And you could tell that eventually the Rams were able to catch on to this. And they started doing plays off of that, the jet sweeps, the bubble screens, kind of the outside zone runs. And, the Bills, it's a weird game because I feel like both defenses had their moments, but they were just completely outshined by perfectly executing offenses, which is kind of how the NFL is designed.
It is, and to give credit, let's say so credit to the Rams, they play cohesively as a unit. The
Yeah.
Bills cohesively as Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a beast. He's the MVP. He's an MVP candidate. He deserves out the accolades. He had an historic game himself last night, but he is one person. He threw three
Shakir was
and
also doing
rushed.
good.
But here's the thing: he threw the three touchdowns. He ran in three touchdowns. He had more yards than both of the other two running backs combined, and by a lot. I think almost double the points. And so he can't do it alone. But he could.
Mhm.
I mean, we've seen he can, but he doesn't. He doesn't have what the Rams have. And I get what you're saying about the defense, but at least the defense of the Rams, they were pretty tight up until the fourth quarter, only giving up, I think, 21 points by the third quarter, 14 by the half. Um, they came out strong in points. I think the refs did them dirty a lot of the times.
Yeah, especially
But
first half. There were some calls that yeah, that's why I was like when Bills fans were complaining about some of the missed calls in the fourth quarter, I'm like, you guys got gifted definitely one drive with two
yeah,
generous calls,
they
and
were
the first and second drive of the first quarter, they probably shouldn't have got.
Yeah, I mean, the BY hit I think was absolutely ridiculous. He
Yeah.
was still in the point of play. He didn't tackle him to the ground. He hit him out while his foot did not his one of his feet were not out of bounds. So he was still in play. Um,
And he
I
fakes out. He fakes out defenders consistently like he's going
oh
out of bounds, which I feel like that should be a flag in my personal opinion because you put the defender in such a bad situation where they have to either not hit you and you can run them over
yeah.
or they have to hit you and put the quarterback in danger. So that I don't like those types of plays on the sideline.
Obviously, another bad call was I think the horse collar call. Don't really think it was a horse collar, which also
No, it wasn't.
and then the other one was obviously the big D Rob, both offensive and defensive pass interference. That luckily didn't end up costing us anything because we still went down and scored. But that was just a bad call. And it's even bad. It's even worse because we watch a lot of football. This is the
Yeah.
one time that they had their ref analyst Mike Pereira, and like after the third time, like every one of those, he went out and said, "Yeah, that was a bad call. That shouldn't have been called that way. The refs missed it.
Oh,
New
the
York has
back
the
to back
ability."
block in the back where they miss one on the
Yeah,
touchdown by Buffalo, and then on the very next play they call us for the same thing. I'm just like, it
yeah. It was bad, and it was just hilarious that even like usually Mike
inconsistent.
Pereira is very good about like it's all about how if the refs didn't see it, but he was like that was blatant. Like I don't know how you could do that. And even he even mentioned like New York could come in and tell them, yeah, that was fine.
You
And
could even make an argument on the PI called in the fourth quarter that the ball wasn't catchable. Like I've
yeah,
seen that happen
sure.
where like the ball wasn't catchable when he came like he did come back for it and that's why the flag. So that part of it was there, but he wouldn't have got to the ball. It
Yeah.
wasn't close enough, at least in my opinion. But that's one of those ones where I can kind of see it more. It's not like the horse collar where it's completely not right, or the roughing the passer, which it's aggravating for me, not because it was called for Buffalo, but because it is like we see it so consistently called against us, but you can see Stafford getting knocked out can like all the time and people landing on him. And it's like I guess Stafford doesn't need to be protected like every other QB. So it's just it's annoying. But besides the refs, you know, the Rams still persevered and didn't let that make it, they
Yeah.
didn't let it become the storyline.
They did a great job. I mean, they converted on third down, 73% conversion on third down, highest they've been since 2001. They went 1 for 1 on fourth down. You know, they never were really behind the sticks. They were always moving the ball forward, and I think that just helped push them into having so much success. It's always when they get third and long is really when they start to struggle, and they were in more of the three and manageable and able to do some different things, whether it's run the ball, throw the ball. So very impressed by this. I mean, this game is historic. The Rams love to be in
Oh yeah.
historic games. I mean, you just go back to the Chiefs game, uh, in 2018. But this one was one for the books. I mean, when you have Josh Allen, who's the quarterback who has had the highest fantasy points of a QB, first QB to have 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns, um, and still losing. That's the even better part is still losing. My favorite stat was that before this game, uh,
Yeah.
if a
349.
team got scored 6 touchdowns, and no and the other and they didn't get any turnovers, they were 0 and 245. Like there was no
Yeah.
reason, and the Rams broke that record, so now they're the one of 246 or whatever. Um,
I
so
mean,
that's kind of a cool stat.
we said it going into this game. They needed to play perfect, and for all points, like they did, and they still only won by 2 points. Like this is a great Bills team. They matched up. Now the question is, can they get consistency going forward, especially this O line? And this is kind of the vision of the team that we were talking about in the preseason was a O line that can maul you in the run game, wear you down over time, uh, leaning on Puka and Cup on big situations to get you TDs, Kyron and Corum going back and forth, mauling you, and a top five worthy offense. And I really do feel like, Zach, that was the team we got. Now,
Yeah.
do they
I
do
mean,
they
this
show
was the one even Kyron Williams better games. I mean, he was averaging under 4 yards a carry, and he's been typically above 4 yards per carry per game, and even
but he
that
was
they
great
didn't.
this game.
He was great. They never
Yeah.
gave up on the run. They allowed Corum to play, which gives him time to rest. Everything can't run just through Kyron Williams. Like he needs a break, and Corum is that break that he needs to keep our RB1 fresh and ready to go.
So the big thing about that is it wasn't just that they kept on trying the run when it wasn't working. They were manipulating that run blitz with different looks over the course of the game, especially with a lot of those jet sweeps and fake jet sweeps, and a lot of their passing concepts looked so similar to their runs that eventually in the third and fourth quarter, when our offense really started exploding, it really built into them being able to then lean on Kyron, and they worked for that with the play calling leading up to that point. And it really is one of the best called games, I would say, in McVay's career that I've seen him call.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give credit to the players. I mean, Puka made unbelievable catches once again. The grab on the outside with the two-toe touch, keeping it in, like
Oh my
just
gosh.
flawless. His jet sweep in for a touchdown with Havenstein and Cup blocking for him. Like these guys are selfless and they will put their bodies on the line to get the outcome that their team needs. And Cooper Cup's catch with his knee, like to call that in the end zone while 2 defenders are on his back. Like again, we have the players. We have the talent. Now we just have the cohesion of an offensive line who's been together for multiple weeks. We're getting things moving, and that's just the kind of thing. And it goes to your point that you've always been saying pretty much this whole season is that the Rams need to start with the ball. They are
Yeah.
hot when they start with the ball, and they went down for the second time, starting the ball, going down for a touchdown. And so,
Yeah.
again, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I feel like this is a team where if they get a double digit or two possession lead over you, the defense didn't really, that D line. The Bills have a great O line, but I would say for most teams, we will be able to apply suffocating pressure and be able to cause a lot of issues for the offense, and we did for a good majority of the game for the Bills. Josh
Yeah.
Allen is just an alien, like Sean McVay says.
Well,
And
he just realized at the end he had to take it upon himself. I mean,
yeah,
fourth quarter, it was Josh Allen. I mean, they got stopped out, in the first half, only getting 2 touchdowns, but being able to punt the ball away, not being able to score after, a series of drives, and then coming back after the third quarter, after the half, and getting a 3 and out. That's a strong statement from the defense that again helped propel us to the victory.
yeah. And it was very good work by a lot of the supporting cast, kind of players like Tutu, just a lot of good decision making by Stafford too. We can talk about him for a second because Stafford wasn't just constantly shooting for like the deep throw. He was nickel and diming every time he could down the field, dissecting a lot of their zone concepts. They didn't do a lot of man that I saw, but when they did do man, I feel like that's our bigger weakness is when we play kind of what the Saints did in the first half of that game is a lot of like man press and kind of asking our wide receivers to beat that. Uh, but this game, that zone, he just was able to read it perfectly.
Yeah, they played a lot of zone, and it was great to see. Um, it was just great to see Stafford be under control. He only had one real, I don't know, maybe bad call. And that was one of the end zones where he tossed
Hmm.
it or he threw it quickly to Puka when Robinson was
Yeah.
right behind him open. Obviously, he didn't see Cup, who was also open to his right, but it's still it was
Well,
a
Puka kind of was getting held, and normally he breaks open for that. So you could make an argument like that's a kind of anticipation throw. Puka normally breaks open. He was kind of getting held. You could make an argument that could have been PI if it's a touchy ref. But Timata,
yeah.
like I agree with you. It's been frustrating. I think the biggest issue has been the O line just being so inconsistent in allowing
So
pressure.
inconsistent, and you also have to remember that we didn't have Cooper or Puck or Cooper and Puka for so many weeks of it. I mean,
Yeah.
we lost Puka week 1, we lost Cup week 2, and they were both on IR. So, or Cup wasn't on IR, but we lost them for 3 or 4 weeks, and so obviously that was a blast to our talent pool. But then again, the offensive line. This is
Mm.
again what the second or third week in a row that we've had consistency at the offensive line, and this is what consistency will get you.
Yeah, and Rob Havenstein, man, he's one of those underrated tackles in the NFL.
Yeah.
We're not going to sit here and say he's a top 5 tackle, but he's in 10 or 9. He's a really great tackle, and some of the
He is.
blocks he was making was great, especially in the screens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned that that's a position they're going to have to look at in the next year or two because Havenstein's from the St. Louis Rams. I mean, he's the only one standing left, and yes, he's a veteran. He's a great player. He's playing still a very high level, but you see what happens when he's out, and you see kind of what our other uh, backup O line can do, and we really need to start developing that depth piece for the O line spot. So again,
Yeah,
if you are
this
joining us live, please make sure you leave your comments so that we can discuss it.
mhm.
It's a great way to keep the conversation moving.
Yeah, the O line is going to be a big discussion in the off season, and just the amount of assets we have poured into it that are sitting on the bench is going to have to be overlooked. And I think for some of the criticism and like praise we should give Sneed, his free agency signings have rarely worked out, and a
Yeah,
lot of the trades have worked out, but the free agency and a lot of the re-signing has not.
yeah. I mean, I think Robinson's probably Demarcus Robinson has probably been the only real good pickup that we've had. It feels like in a while, so good on him. So, but
He's
again, this
better at
team,
getting undrafted guys, signing them for pennies and turning them into
yeah.
something than these guys he pays like 10, 12, 15 mil and they just implode on us.
Yeah. All right. So how do you feel about the special teams punt block? Hunter Long taking it in for his first touchdown.
I mean,
And the Rams
we
needed it.
got yes, we needed it this game, and that was a big momentum swing that probably like you could tell that sucked the energy out of the Bills for a good quarter or so. So
Oh
like
well,
really
only hold on.
useful for that.
Only for 15 seconds because then they came down and scored within 3 plays. So it took them out. It took them a breath for like a second, and then they came
Yeah.
back and scored a touchdown. Didn't do as much as I was really hoping it was going to. Like I thought that was going to be like a giant momentum swing, and it ended up being just like a drop.
This Bills team is a top 5 offense, so, like, anyone
Oh yeah,
expecting anything else, like, I was just like, "Oh, that's a free possession, we don't have to worry about it, didn't have to work for it, it was instant." So, especially with us not getting the ball, you need something like that to kinda give you advantage going into half, but I'm still not the biggest fan of our punt or kick returns. I think for the most part, they've been
our
below
punt's been
average.
fine. Our returns. Yes, yeah,
Our
yeah.
returns.
Yeah.
The
We
punts,
thought Dave.
so the kicker and punts are two separate things. I separate those out from the coordinator. Coordinator can't really control those. But the coverages and stuff like that just hasn't been great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we did get a 22-yard field goal. He made 4 of the 5 touchdowns. Just unfortunate that we missed the one and put us at a 2-point lead at the very end, where they
Mhm.
very well should have been able to have enough time to at least get a field goal. So that would have been devastating if we would have lost by a field goal when it could have just tied the game.
Yeah.
But luckily, it didn't.
Uh, yeah, Matt, you're right. It gave us the lead. Now maybe that Ramsey deal was more worth it from this one play. Who knows?
Yeah. I saw someone posted that, how many touchdowns did Jalen Ramsey give us? 0, and how many did Hunter Long give us? 1. So,
They're not wrong.
I mean, that's in the stat sheet for life. So,
Now
um,
you have to put that underneath when it says like the Ramsey trade, third round pick, Hunter Long, punt block touchdown.
it seems like we won the trade compared to the Lions and the Goff and Stafford trade. The Goff they're still upset about them. They still think they won the trade.
Oh, do you think Witt will take one to the house this year?
Ooh, it's
Only,
if they're gonna
only if we like rest starters in the last week, then maybe.
Yeah, I would say maybe against the Jets. I think they might have an opportunity to. Um,
Yeah, yeah, against Jets.
that's probably the one that I could see that he might take it to. But he's been looking pretty impressive, and I'm hopeful that he'll get more attempts. Luckily, the Rams didn't just punt the ball that much. So, well, I guess the Bills punted it a couple times, but yeah, I got it
What
reversed in my head.
did we punt it twice?
I think just twice. There was a 3 and out. We got one 3 and out. Um,
We got 3 and outed once in the fourth quarter. I know that. And
two
maybe in the
punts. Yep.
third,
Yeah,
2
we had
punts.
we had 2 total punts.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, and he did a great. Well, and I think one of them was the ending punt, right? That was the last
Mhm.
punt. So, there really just one punt. The last one was the hang time that closed out the game,
Yeah, well
which was
done
beautiful in
too.
itself.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't get trying to run it for the first down because chances of you getting it because they're selling out for the run. I just rather like take Safford, walk back for a few seconds, and wait until they get to you, and then just knee it down. Yeah, because you can go backwards. That's not going to cost you anything.
So they said something about like that was their plan when it was 6 seconds, but for some reason when they added a second back, they swapped it out and they went to the hang time punt,
Well,
the step
I'm
back punt.
talking about on first and second down instead of like running for Kyron and that only like choose 4 or 5 seconds per play. I thought it would have been a kind of better idea just to do that every down because you're going to use more clock. It, I don't,
I guess you just
I
don't
don't
want to
know
go
if it's
backwards because if something happens, you don't want to go. I think you just want to try to go forward.
you're going to probably punt it anyways. I know you want to get the first down and instantly end the game, but you practically end it just by chewing the clock anyways.
Well, you could have said the
So,
same thing. Like, why didn't on fourth down? Why doesn't Stafford just run as like fast as he can backwards for 6 seconds, like or 7 seconds?
I mean, true.
These are things that I don't know why you don't do, but you do it anyways. Anyways, it was a great game,
We don't get
fun
paid
game.
big bucks.
Made me sick to my stomach for the fourth quarter because them coming back and scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter was just insane. Um, the Rams were trying to keep up, but they only scored 6 points in the fourth quarter because
All we needed
yeah,
because we missed
oh
a
super.
extra point. Yeah. What about the missed extra point?
Well, I think we kind of talked about it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm still giving him a chance. He's a rookie. He's going to learn from it. Hopefully, he'll move on.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an awesome game, Mata. Like it was just fun to watch. The back and forth. I wish the defense, man. Do you want to talk about Darius Williams?
Yeah, it's on my notes. This is the second week in the row where the team has really picked on him. Um, I mean, even yeah. So Darius Williams did not have a great night. Lake didn't have a stellar night. He got kind of burnt on a couple plays too. But yeah,
Yeah,
Darius
him.
Williams. Sorry, go ahead.
Kobe played great before he got hurt, and I feel like he got a little slower after he got hurt. But Darius Williams, he's always near the play now, but you can tell he's just slower. He's just not getting there like he used to.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he can work something out, figure something out, get better for the long stretch. But um, we'll kind of see. Anything else you want to say about the game before we kind of wrap up and get kind of the news breakdown and then talk a little bit about the game coming up?
Nah, like Puka is a dog, man. Puka, I'm so happy we got him, and I can't wait. I can't wait for all the years of fun we're gonna have. He's gonna be a good one. I think potentially better than Cup. I really do.
Uh, totally. I definitely can foresee that. I mean, he just has all the right stuff. He's able to catch the balls. He's able to run the ball. He's able to go down the field. A lot of stuff that he can do. So Puka is going to be the future of the Rams for a long time. Um,
And
so
it's not on
I'm
Cup either. Cup just
no,
physically is not as strong as Puka is.
he's more of the sneaky. He's the person who can get out to he can juke a person and get into space and be able to catch the ball. He's Mr. Reliable in short distances. Um, when he can make the crazy plays too. It's just you just have a younger version of him, which
Yeah.
I mean it is what it is.
Bigger
You have a younger version.
frame.
Yeah.
And if he can learn how to read coverage like Cup does, and that's why it's so
That,
exciting to have Cup paired up with him so he can learn.
yeah.
Yeah.
To everybody who wanted to get rid of Cup, this is the reason why not to get rid of Cup. He is
Yeah.
still a baller. He still participates well into the thing, and he's another coach. He's another McVay on the field. You have a Stafford, and you have a Cup on the field, being able to dictate what the offense is coming. It's it's insane. So I continue to see that the Rams are going to continue to keep Cup. I think that Sean McVay's secret weapon is to have a Cup on the field, being able to help guide Stafford and be able to see how things are going to move on the offensive
Mhm.
side. So I think he's going to retire Cup or a Ram. Cup is going to retire a Ram. I just foresee it in my blood.
Mm. It would all have been different if we lost that game.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it was an electric game. I mean, if we would have lost by, if it was a, what it was, it 43 or 45 to 44, like if we would have lost by one to the Bills had an electric game. I mean, I think Rams fans would have been upset. But again, we were going up the Bills. We were matching the Bills left and right. Um,
Yeah,
so
it was like two heavyweight boxers going at it, just blow to
yeah, I
blow.
mean, if we would have lost by 40 to 17, there's a different conversation that we're having. Uh,
Yeah.
but we're not, and I think that the reason why is because of the players in the field and the way they're able to execute.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I don't think without Cup, without Puka, this thing wasn't going to run on its
Mm.
wheels.
You want to get news? Talk about
Yeah,
news.
so we do have some two injury updates. Obviously that we saw Demarcus Robinson. He did go down. Um, he has a shoulder sprain. His status is to be determined. They're not ruling him out for Thursday's game against the 49ers, but it is a short week, so we'll see. Um, the more concerning one is Kobe Durant um, with a lung contusion. Uh, he's been the most consistent cornerback that we've had all season. Um, really would be unfortunate if he were to come down. Obviously, we have Emmanuel Forbes who could help fill that role in, even though he's new on the team. But him, Akilla Witherspoon, things like that. I think that there's ways that the Rams could kind of hopefully maneuver around it with the 49ers team, which is going to be whether they have their weapons or not. It's going to be a tough game.
Feisty. They will always be feisty. Now, I will say to any 49er fans, like, calm down. You beat the Bears, and the Bears are a really, really sad team.
They're
So
they're yeah they're
yeah,
a sad team.
they're not a really serious contending team. So
I
yeah,
mean,
blowing out the Bears is nice. We lost him when we had injuries galore. So like congrats. But yeah, Team Honor, like we said the goal was to be a top five offense, and we beat a top five offense with our offense. And just can we keep on doing that? That will be the key to the 2024 Rams being successful or not. Because even if we somehow win this division, if we keep on not coming out and like having half games, we're going to lose in the wild card round anyways. So you're going to see
yeah,
someone like the Bucks, uh, Minnesota is someone like that, or Green Bay in the wild card round, and you have to go all four quarters with your offense to win those games.
yeah, for sure.
They
And
are.
again, we're coming up against divisional. The Bills are great as an offense. Defense, they obviously up
They're
and
good.
down, and the Rams can handle them. But this 49ers team, I mean, when we start getting to division games, which again, it's the three of the last four are divisional games, they're going to be tough because they're the divisional games. The Rams are going to need pretty much to win all four of these games to really have that shot of getting that NFC West title and being able to get into the playoffs and becoming a real threat in that playoffs. I personally don't want to go up against the Lions right off the bat, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
What do
I
you think about
mean,
this?
realistically, now they could lose the Jets game. You don't want to, but the Jets, um, yeah. Let's see.
The Jets are just weird. So as far as some of the 49ers go, they're on their third string running back with Garindo. He's right now questionable with a foot injury. He got taken out in the second half of yesterday's game against against the Bears. We'll see. Trent Williams is questionable. He's having an ankle issue. let's see, who else did I saw on their report? Bosa had a oblique, is also considered questionable. Uh, Not really sure how serious any of those are, but um, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, the Rams can stay healthy and no injuries during practice or anything silly like that.
Yeah. I, let's hope. I mean, it always seems that the 49ers always get some lucky bounce or, some ridiculous thing that only happens when we play against the 49ers. So it's going to be interesting. But again, this
Yeah.
is any team, any Sunday or any Thursday or whatever. Every team is beatable. 49ers are definitely beatable. They're the last in the NFC West. Um, Brock Purdy isn't having a great season. Kittle had probably his best game of the whole season yesterday against the Bears. Um, uh, I think this team is they're just kind of in shambles just because they're getting a late injury bug. I mean, they don't have Ayuk, they don't have Christian McCaffrey, they don't have Mason Rudolph. They have a laundry list of various players out. Um, and it's still gonna be a challenge though. The Rams cannot let the foot off the gas. They're gonna have to keep pushing um, the way it's gonna be, the way it has to be.
Yeah. I'm doing the kind of like playoff simulator right now. And really how I have it breaking down, I see us kind of as the third seed going against Green Bay. Yeah. Because like looking at some of these matchups, you still get the 49ers have to play the Lions still. Let's see. Cardinals play the Panthers. And then I believe the Cardinals had played Dolphins also. So some interesting games that still have to go on in the division. So it's probably going to come down to the wire, guys.
Yeah, I mean Seattle, they got to go up against the Packers, and then the Vikings, and then they got the Bears, and then the Rams. So really the Seahawks are probably the biggest threat that we have, but they have two big games coming up. Um, so we'll see how that goes for them. So
Hmm.
super
Hopefully
excited.
terribly.
Hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully the Rams continue to move momentum and just prove people wrong, like they continue to do year after year. People always underestimate them, and eventually they make their way through.
Yep. So if the Rams can win out, I mean, you're talking about a 5-1 division record. It's hard to imagine that we don't get division with a 5-1 division record.
Yeah, you would think.
And what we would be 10-6. So
Yeah. No, I think it would be good. Like I said, I mean, if we went out, then obviously, and the Seahawks went out, obviously we would have to beat them in the last game of the year. So, but
yeah, Kittle's gonna be. I mean, also their wide receiver that went off against us. I forget his name. Uh, but they can still throw it. Like Purdy's still a capable quarterback. The biggest thing with us is not allowing them to ball control and just clock us the entire second half. And that's why I feel like, especially with a team like the 49ers or Eagles, you have to get a lead early and force them to throw more than they want. If they can run on you in ball control, you're going to lose that game 9 times out of 10.
yep. And you're
The
thinking of
Lions are
Juwan
kind of like
Jennings.
that too. Mhm. Jennings.
Yeah. So, um, you know, it is what it is. We're gonna keep fighting. The Rams are gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep supporting this team with everything we got. Um, we're just it's just 1 week at a time. We're gonna be on a short week. The Rams are gonna have to kind of get their players a little bit healthy in a short period of time. Um, but I'm excited for this team. I've always been excited for this team. Um, I just I rep this team pretty much every day. I mean, I have conversations with people every day about this. I'm just so excited about this team. This team means so much, just because of the weapons they have, the character they have. These people have heart. Um, so I'm just excited to see what they got left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, we're still kind of in a weird half rebuilding phase. And if we can make it into the playoffs again, I feel like this young roster is only going to keep on getting better and grow and grow and grow. And hopefully, by the time we get in the playoffs, Zach, we could be a little bit better than good and try to make it to the dance. Have a
Yeah,
chance.
we there's you always have a chance. There's always a chance. Uh, so pretty excited about that.
I mean, two of the 49ers runs have been Cinderella runs as like the fifth, sixth seed. So, like, when we went, we were the fourth seed. It's possible.
Yep. Yep. So super excited. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. Thank you to everyone who listened live, and those didn't listen live, join us next time. We appreciate everyone who listens all the time. You can find us live on youtube.com/at East Coast Rams. You can find us on all the social media platforms at East Coast Rams on X, at East Coast Rams Pod on Instagram and Threads, and you can find us also at Blue Sky at East Coast Rams. Please like and subscribe our YouTube page. If you find us on Spotify, Pocket Cast, please leave us a review. It would mean the world. Ashton, anything else you want to say?
No, just everyone have a great preparation week for Christmas. I know Santa's doing a lot of shopping right now, so please enjoy that. And guys, great game. Hopefully they can keep this energy and we can ride this all the way to the playoffs.
Let's go. Thursday night football against the 49ers. It's going to be electric. The Rams will be there. They will be ready to go. And we cannot wait to do another podcast with you all next time. Whose house? Rams house.